Okay. During the last decade, it has started to be much more common with the audience booing the artists. Two of the more memorable ones are from Athens 2006, where in the semi, the Icelandic singer Sylvia Knight became too much for the Greeks. And in the final, the Lithuanians LT United became too much for the Eurovision fans. These last years, the Russian entrance has been outbooed totally by the audience after the Russian law that banned LGBT propaganda. And many has been angry at this behavior from the Eurovision fans. Well, some see it as a way to send a message straight into the Vladimir Putin's couch. So, what do you think about this? Is it an important political statement or is it just childish?
Um, Here's the thing. You brought up a few good examples, like Iceland in 2006 and Lithuanian booing. Booing to me in general is a big no, but we need to differentiate between those incidents because Iceland and Lithuania were not booed because of a political climate that they were in. They were booed because they had problems with the artist, the act, or with the song for that matter. Russia, certainly the past couple of years, has been booed was purely based on the political situation and I'm not trying to go into too much, I understand why people feel that way and why is that an issue. I agree with them. But this is not the platform to do that because if you boo and act like that, you're the one that looks bad. You look like a dick. So, and I don't think that's in the spirit of Eurovision. So, I personally say don't boo. Just don't boo. There is no benefit in that.
Yeah, what do you think, Calvin?
If nothing else, I don't know how productive it is because it creates a narrative of sympathy for the performer that doesn't even work for helping the cause of the people who are booing, because all it does is produce a narrative of, oh look, they were booed, that's so sad, they shouldn't be doing that. But by that same token, I don't know if it's ethical either, because there's a bit of a disconnect between these broadcasters who are trying to create this message of togetherness and an audience who is rejecting that, and that's also a shame.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I'm afraid I'm starting to think like how is that seen in Russia for the ones that is sitting in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Sochi, and so on, and watching the contest and feel and see the complete audience booing at the mostly talented Russian entrants, and I feel like they must feel like we don't want to belong. They don't want us in Europe. They don't want us anymore, and they will feel a hate against both not only Europe but also mostly the LGBT people, because Eurovision is, after all, many people are among the LGBT people. So I mean, I think it is not. I think this will only destroy the way for LGBT people in Russia. This will only make things worse. That is my opinion.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to elaborate on what you're saying because you brought up a really good point about the LGBT community,
Yeah.
is that I was, when I was watching, I was in Vienna in May, obviously, and I noticed when I was watching the results, as the second half when Sweden was getting more and more points, but Russia was in the lead at that point, that every time Russia was getting any points, there was extreme joy and excitement among the people I was surrounded by. And when Russia got points, it was always like, oh. But it wasn't a booing thing. It was more of a, I don't want to go to Russia. And that has to do with the point you just were bringing up. Like, if Russia were to win the contest, that would open a big problem for a lot of the members of the LGBT community because of the laws that they've implemented like a year or two ago. So it was a very touchy and I think it's a very complicated issue, and about Russia hosting the contest should they win again or when they win again. But the booing, regardless of that, I'm like, this. It's just, as you said, it's not ethical and it's just counterproductive.
And one of the things I noticed while I was in the arena, was that Polina Gagarina, when she performed A Million Voices, got uproarious applause and a really positive reception. But that positive reception didn't play out in the results when people were getting very nervous about the possibility of going to Russia. And I think that comes back to what you were saying, that no matter what people thought of the song, it does pose a bit of a challenge for a lot of the LGBT members of the Eurovision community. And even if the booing is not necessarily the most productive way to express that, I definitely understand where they're coming from.
Okay, I agree that I can understand why people boo, but I want people to think twice before doing that.
Yes.
I mean, okay, you don't want to go to Russia because of the LGBT laws, but does that make, if now Russia would happen that they win, let's say they do it in Stockholm next year, and will go to St. Petersburg or Sochi or Moscow or whatever. Isn't it important for us LGBT people, to go to Russia and show that we are people as anyone else, and trying to disturb the hate that is starting both from us in the rest of the LGBT Europe and Russians that is anti-gay from the beginning. I mean, we must think about, like, compared with the song like that Polina sang. It is a song about bringing people together and together shaping a society where everyone is accepted for who they are. And I mean, we in the LGBT area and the Russians should meet each other, and what a great way to do that than a Eurovision Song Contest in Russia. That is my opinion, at least.
That is true. And I would like to know, and I'm no expert in this field by any shape or form, but how involved the Russian government or any kind of Russian officials are in song selection, or if it's a purely like broadcaster decision and they're trying to send a message saying, hey, we do not agree with certain things that are happening in our country. And this is our way to tell you guys this is where with you, or something like that. Or if it's really just more like almost in your face kind of, we're just going to sing a song about something that you feel strongly about, but, we're just trying to get votes. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I hope that it's the former, that they're actually saying, you know what, this is how we feel, this is what we're representing. We're not part of what guys are booing right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Would love to believe that. I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that, but a lot of people are just seeing it as very hypocritical that Russia is singing all these songs about peace and togetherness, and I think that's to what the people who are booing are responding.
That is true, yeah. So
yeah,
it's if we could talk about this for hours, it's a very touchy subject, but
it is.
It's a very interesting.